Tommy!
By all rights, we should be short a couple of scalps, Mingo.
That's the first time I've ever known the Wyandotte to run from a kill before. Did you hear what he said? Mercadone. Which woman?
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free. From the coonskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the rippin'est, roaring'est, fightin'est man the frontier ever knew. What a boon, what a doer, what a dream come a truer. What a boon, what a doer, what a dream come a truer was he.
Just stand here and argue about what we just saw. We can light out like the Wyandotte's did, or we can go over there and find out what a witch woman looks like close up. Ma'am, can you persuade a boy to put down the stick? It's going to be a long, cold, wet night. We're going to need all the heat we can get. Almost all. Well, you'll have to forgive my friend for staring, ma'am, but I reckon he's a mite surprised to find a woman and a boy making camp in the middle of the night right on the edge of Wyandotte country.
An Indian.
Well, he's a Cherokee, ma'am, and that's somewhat different from a Wyandotte.
What's he gonna do to us?
Mingo?
Well, I'd like to begin by being friends.
Who are you?
We were just about to ask you the same thing.
I'm Esther Craig. We're looking for Boonesboro.
I'd say you missed a turn, maybe 50 miles back.
Would you?
Point you straight, ma'am? We'd be glad to. It just happens that we're on our way back to Boonesboro now.
Yeah.
Esther! Esther! Use the side!
Break it down. They must have slipped out the back way.
She knew we were coming.
What will you do?
Find her.
Where?
Wherever she is.
It's possible that she may have slipped off into the wilderness. Why, there are lands out there even God's eye might miss.
I'll find her if I have to die for it. For the sake of her immortal soul.
Don't seem feverish at all. From the looks of her, I'd say she's just plain bone weary.
I guess she would be. Getting from just about anywhere to the place Mingo and I found her at. Just where did you start from, son?
I forget the name. We wasn't there but a day or two. Last place we lived in was New York.
Here, son. You need this more than I do.
Thanks.
You travel light, don't you? Say, that's a handsome box you got there.
Don't touch it!
Sorry. Didn't mean no harm.
Anyhow, looks like you found him just in time, Daniel.
Oh, the poor thing. You should have brought her straight to the cabin, Dan.
Well, this was the nearest roof we could find, Becky. I figured we ought to get her out of the night air as quickly as we could manage. And her boy was looking all in, too.
Oh, you could be right at that. Well, a little of this broth ought to breathe a little life into the both of them. Now, don't tell me you're too tired to eat this.
No, ma'am. My ma needs it worse than I do.
There's plenty for your mother. Now, take this. She's still so cold.
Mingo, stir up the fire.
Don't burn me! It's all right, Ma. They ain't gonna hurt you. They ain't gonna hurt you.
Burn her? What's being done to this poor woman?
Dan, she can't stay here. Can't we bundle her up and take her home now?
Well, I've packed her this far. Guess a little further won't hurt her.
Strange, isn't it? First what the Wyandotte called her, and now this talk of burning.
Is that why you're leaving, Mingo? Are you worried about the Mikatoni?
No, worried about what she'll eat when she gets strong enough to take more than broth. We were supposed to be hunting, you recall, when we found her and the boy. I'd best get back to the hunt. Good night, Daniel.
William, a little more meat?
No, thanks.
If you want to go for a walk later, I'll show you around the settlement.
Well, I don't know.
Mima, I think William is trying to say that he'd rather stay close to his mother until she's up and about.
You think maybe she's awake now?
Well, I don't know. I'd do any harm to go take a look. Let's go see.
You snuck up on me. Well, somebody has to do something, or else you'll stretch breakfast right into supper. Now, come on and eat.
Ma, you feeling better?
Much better. I've been lying here trying to remember last night. It's confused. I do remember you. You were very kind. Mr. Boone. And you too. Mrs. Boone.
Well, around here, helping folks comes as natural as using first names. This is Becky and I'm Daniel. And neither of us have done more for you than you would have done for us if things had been turned around. Besides, your showing up when you did came in right timely for Mingo and me. Kept things from getting might scratchy with the Wyandotte.
We're very grateful to you. William and I, we won't forget.
Back where we found you, you mentioned that you were heading for Boonesboro. Have you got friends or kinfolks in the settlement?
No. William and I, we thought that we might settle here.
Just you and the boy?
Just the two of us. Oh, I know we won't be much good for farming, but I'm a very good seamstress. And William, he's quick, he's handy. Oh, we'll make out.
Might be you could use the old McFarland cabin. It's in the fort, right in the middle of everything. Take a little cleaning up, though, but it is built solid.
A cabin?
Well, you have to live somewhere.
William, do you see? I told you everything's going to be all right.
Becky, I've got a notion Miss Craig could use a little breakfast.
Wouldn't be surprised, but what you're right.
William, you see? Everything's going to be all right. We can begin again with these people.
He'll follow us, Mother.
He won't.
He will. You know he'll never stop.
He won't find us, not here.
And if he does?
If he does? Well, if he does, then here is where it must end.
Bingo. Becky, help me. Get some hot water and some spirits. What happened, Mingo?
It was a bear on the trail to camp. It was an easy shot. It should have died instantly. It kept coming. Which woman?
Mingo was right. Hit right dead center.
Critter kept right on coming, eh?
You ask me, it just don't seem natural.
Oh, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. Some bears just take more killing than others.
You're right, Daniel. And that bear took all I had to offer.
Mingo, are you sure you're ready to ramble around?
Daniel, the Cherokee have a superstition. If a warrior doesn't rise the day after battle, he may never rise at all. The enemy was valiant. His hide will have a place of honor in my lodge.
The way it sounds to me is a whole lot more than valiant.
I thought so, too, for a while.
And now? You changed your mind again?
Well, pain and fear are like fingers of the same hand. And today, the hand is not so heavy upon me.
Dad? Mingo, are you up already?
Yes, well, I was just testing my ambition, Rebecca. And I came to the conclusion that today would be an excellent day for sitting quietly by the fire and drinking strong tea.
I'll brew you up some right away.
That McFarland cabin is a pigsty. Now, Esther and I have made a start at cleaning, but, well, some strong backs would help.
I think she's talking about us.
Any time within the next 2 minutes would be just fine.
Put it right there, it'll be fine. Now, I want you two to use lots of soap and scrub every inch of this. Daniel Boone, you weren't planning on leaving now.
Well, Tom and me thought we'd do something easy, like chopping down a tree.
Yeah, Miss Craig's gonna need some firewood, you know.
All right, if you can't find anything better to do.
Give this girl a bullwhip and she'd do a good job of driving a mule train.
Oh, one of the children can fetch water. You promised me you wouldn't do any lifting or carrying.
Oh, but I'm all right now. I've got my strength back.
Well, let's keep it that way. Wouldn't want to spoil your first day under your own roof.
Nothing could spoil that.
Mima, when you finish, we need some more water.
All right, Ma.
Jemima? Thank you.
You're welcome. Hard work, isn't it?
It's not so bad.
You know something I've never seen you do since you came here?
No? What?
You smile. Suppose you haven't had much to smile about. You and your ma and all the trouble you've been through.
Trouble?
Well, being lost in Wyandotte country and everything. That's trouble, isn't it? That's over now. So maybe sometime now I'll see what you look like when you smile.
Jemima. My mother.
Well, what about your mother?
Does she... I mean, Jemima, are you scared of my mother?
Scared? Well, no. Why should I be scared of her?
You should not ever. She's a good woman, Jemima. As good as any you'd ever know. That's the truth, Jemima.
I was getting worried. It's dark.
I just felt like walking. I guess I went farther than I figured.
Well, your supper's almost ready.
William?
You said you'd never use them again.
It's a harmless pastime. Surely it's all right here. Look. I started this one yesterday.
Jemima.
She's such a pretty thing. And she's been nice to us. I wanted to make her a present.
Mother.
Now, William, it's nothing but paint and brush and vellum. It's a talent I have. There's nothing wrong with it.
They won't think so. The whole thing will start over again.
No, not here.
Here! They're already saying we bring bad luck.
Who said that?
One of the men in the stockade. I heard him.
It doesn't matter. As long as that's all he said, it's still going to be all right.
Miss Craig? Daniel Boone. There's a man here to see you. Says he's been looking for you.
Esther, it's been a long time.
Whatever he's told you, you mustn't believe it.
I've told him nothing, Esther, not yet.
Mister, you've done a pretty fair job of scaring the liver out of these two. Unless you've got business with them, maybe you ought to let them be.
I can't do that. I've been following her for close to 3 years now. Each time I found her, she's managed to escape. This time, she must not get away.
What was you after her for? Something she's done to somebody?
Something she did to a great many people.
In the name of mercy, haven't you done enough?
I'm doing only what I must.
Well, I wish I could understand why you're here. Why you've hounded this poor woman clear across the wilderness. Are you a bailiff or a magistrate?
No.
Well, then why?
She's my wife. The boy's my son.
Well, you mean that's what all this here is about? Just a runaway wife?
No, there's more. I've no connection with the law, but she's wanted by the court of New York.
Well, then she did do something.
3 years ago, the town of Deerfield, New York, was wiped out by a band of Wyandotte Indians. 84 men and women massacred, and all because of her.
A New York court blamed her for the massacre?
The Indians destroyed the town because she was in it. Because Esther Craig was practicing witchcraft.
Might as well go on home, everybody. The man's the woman's husband, that's all.
That's all? We just heard her own husband accuse her of being a witch.
Now, hold on. Name calling between husband and wife ain't nothing new. Might as well go on home and let them settle their differences in peace. Now, go on.
This ain't over, Daniel. Not by a long sight.
So, a witch among us. That explains a great deal.
Well, I know you take the Cherokee beliefs to heart, Mingo, but...
Now, Daniel, I'm not speaking only as a Cherokee. After all, even the Bible says, "Ye shall not suffer a witch to live among ye."
I'm sorry for all the pain I've caused you and the boy.
Are you? If I went away from here, you'd follow us again. You'd find us. You'd cause us pain again.
Esther, you can't go on hiding from this evil that's in you.
No. I'm not going to run away anymore.
I hope not. For your own sake.
For my sake. What you've done to me and the boy. For my sake.
Yes, for your immortal soul.
Don't say that. What you've told them about me, it isn't true.
Then why do they believe, Esther? If it isn't the truth, why do I find them all so ready to believe? Why do you fight it so? Why won't you let me help you? Exorcism. I've studied it. You can be saved. But you must confess.
Confess to what?
You have the guilt of 84 deaths on your soul.
No.
If you won't do this of your own free will, Esther, I'll have to force you. And all these people will join in accusing you. Just as all the others have in all the places you tried to hide.
No. These are good people. Just this once, I'm going to trust in the goodness of others. Let me help.
William. It all started because you painted pictures. You know it did. I did it for you, Ma. I did it for you.
It's all right. It's all right. William? It started again. The people. Just like he said.
We've got to get away.
No. No. We can't run away. Not anymore.
Why can't they leave us alone?
I don't know. I don't know.
They've been in there all day, hiding. It's time we did something.
It's funny how these things always start after sundown. You figure you're the one to do it, Tom? They make a believer out of you, Cincinnatus?
I don't hardly know what to believe, Daniel. But you gotta admit that ever since she come here, there's been mighty strange goings-on.
A man was hurt by a bear. Something that could happen any time around here.
But it happened to Mingo. You and him was the first two near. Don't you see, Daniel, you're likely to be next.
You're stretching things again, Tom. Clear out of shape. Now, I suggest all of you folks go on home.
And let her witch us like she done Mingo?
There's been an awful lot of throwing that word witch around since last night. If it sticks, that woman can hang. Now, who wants that on their conscience? Who wants to cast the first stone? Sudden? You, Cincinnatus?
Ask me, Mr. Boone. Let it be on my head. This is your daughter, I think.
It is. It's Jemima.
Esther painted that.
How is Jemima? How's she feel?
Here I am. And I feel fine.
Look to your daughter, Mr. Boone. It was just this kind of thing that led to the Deerfield massacre. A painted image upon which she worked her witchcraft. And there'll be more unless you stop her.
That's enough, Craig. You're whipping these people up to the place where anything can happen. Now go on home, folks, and stop acting like a bunch of panicked sheep.
Run along to the tavern with the other children and look after your brother.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Try to remember. Your husband has told us that the Wyandottes destroyed Deerfield because you painted pictures of them.
Is that witchcraft?
Did you paint the pictures?
Yes.
Mrs. Craig, Indians believe that their immortal souls are bound up in their images. Now, if they thought you were hurting them, they could have risen against the town.
I don't know what the Indians thought. They never said anything to me.
Esther.
But they didn't object to my painting them.
Can't you tell us something to help? Your husband said something else. He said a court in New York convicted you of being a witch.
Because of what he told them. He twisted things. He made it seem as if I'd done something evil.
Dan, those people, our neighbors, you know they're gonna come back.
Unless we can prove to them that Esther's not a witch. Maybe you better stay with her a few days, Becky.
Why? What are you going to do?
Well, the only way I know to find out why the Wyandotte destroyed Deerfield is to ask them. Especially that buck we almost tangled with a few nights back.
How can you be sure that he was in on that raid?
I saw him when he looked at her. He knew who she was.
Even if that's so, do you expect to walk into a Wyandotte camp and just bring one of them back with you? What makes you think he'll come?
I'll argue that with him when I find him.
Don't go, Daniel. Rebecca, I must tell you this time. Don't let Daniel go. After all, Lightning has already struck twice.
Daniel, is Mingo right?
It's the only way I know to get at the truth.
How can you be sure that the truth will help her?
I know it sounds crazy, and I know what she's going through. But when that man held up this picture of Jemima, and someone said, "Where is Jemima?" Just for one moment, one awful moment, I felt, God forgive me.
That's why I have to go.
He's coming.
You can put that rifle down now, Mrs. Boone.
What do you want, Mr. Craig?
I want to speak to my wife.
I don't think that would do anyone any good.
You think I mean to harm her?
You have harmed her.
Sometimes we must hurt in order to help. I want to help her.
I don't believe you, Mr. Craig.
Mrs. Boone, I married her to help her. She hasn't told you yet. Her mother was hanged, convicted of witchcraft. You don't know how I watched her for years to see if she was tainted too, days and nights. For years, I saw no sign of it. We were happy. She bore me a son. And then this happened. 84 men and women killed because of Esther.
I can't believe that.
What do you want from me now?
I ask you again to confess and save your soul.
I have nothing to confess. Is it true?
No.
God help me, is it true?
No, and you must never believe that.
How can you be sure? How can I be sure? Was I infected by my mother? Have I infected my son?
Wyandotte dogs, fit only to wipe other men's boots.
Who are you?
A hater of jackals, and one who remembers when the Wyandotte were a proud people, a leader of nations.
Why do you wear the feather of the Wyandotte Nation?
I took it from the head of one of the women who guard your camp. I earned the right to wear it once, and I wore it proudly. But I'll not wear it now. Once it was a proud thing to be a Wyandotte warrior. In the war against the French, the Wyandotte were my brothers. Who is there here who remembers those days?
It was not so long ago.
Once the Wyandotte had much land and many friends. Today they live in the leavings of the Shawnee.
Why have you come here?
I come to see if there is a Wyandotte who remembers the days of greatness when a man would die for what is right.
The old ways are not forgotten.
You say it. I invoke the sanction of witness to prevent an unjust death. I call upon this man.
Ita?
If that is his name. I call upon Ita to stand witness to save a life. If Ita fears for his own crimes, let him be at rest. It is not my concern. I promise him safe conduct among my people.
It is his right to refuse.
Then Ita leaves me no choice. I claim him by right of ordeal.
This I cannot allow you to refuse.
Eva! This isn't a proper room for a trial. But this is not the first time a tavern has been turned into a courtroom, and likely it won't be the last. We're going to have to forget about a lot of legal technicalities and procedures, because I reckon we don't know much about that, except possibly Mr. Craig there. But that don't mean we're going to forget about Mrs. Craig's rights. In the interest of fairness and to set the record straight, I got to say I was against this trial from the start, and I'm against it now. But the fact remains that the practice of witchcraft is a felony under the law. And we have to uphold the law. So if no one else has anything to say, we can start.
I'm bound to point out this woman has already been found guilty in another court.
In Kentucky, Mr. Craig, or in Virginia, to which we're sovereign bound?
No, in New York.
Then we'll have to go ahead.
I must also point out that if you judge her, you must be ready to sentence her.
What is the sentence for witchcraft, Mr. Craig?
Death. Unless she confesses. There's a child involved in this, Mr. Boone. The court is bound to consider the safety of his soul.
The court accepts its responsibility. Esther Craig, have you ever practiced witchcraft, magic, or consorted with evil spirits?
Never.
Cincinnatus, bring in the witness. Ita. What tribe do you belong to?
Wendat.
Were you present at the Deerfield massacre 3 years ago? Did you take part in that massacre? I'm bound to tell you that Ita is here as a witness of the court. I've personally guaranteed his safety here. Why do you feel the Wyandotte destroyed Deerfield?
Estato ukos.
He says it's because of Mrs. Craig.
I guess Ita's answers are getting too complicated for his English. If no one objects, Mingo will interpret for us. Ita, what did she do that caused you to wipe out the settlement?
Esne. Oangtong. Wyandotte. Ho how.
He says she imprisoned their souls in her images and worked magic against them.
I did not.
Awa torite.
He says you did.
Awa torite. Ariesta.
She promised to give them back and instead destroyed them.
Ho how. Akawa. Agu. Oyenda.
With their souls destroyed, they were as dead men. It seems that killing was the only way that they could avenge the great crimes committed against them.
No, it's not true. They were given the pictures. My husband took them down to the village. My husband.
No. No, that isn't right, what he said. That isn't the reason the Indians attacked. They attacked because of the power she possesses, a power she can't control. Those pictures were merely a manifestation of that power.
What did happen to the pictures?
What he said can't be true.
Craig, did you destroy those pictures?
Yes, I had to destroy them to keep her from working witchcraft on the Indians. That's why the Indians attack. They knew what she is.
No, Craig. That's not what he says. He says they attacked because those pictures were destroyed, and he has no reason to lie. It was you, and not your wife, that's responsible for the massacre at Deerfield. It's your obsession with witchcraft, your blind superstition, your fear of your wife's taint that caused the death of 84 men and women.
No, it can't be. It just can't be.
It is. And that's the truth, Craig. I feel sorry for you. All those years. God help you.
God in heaven. All those people. And you. How deeply I must have hurt you.
Craig. You leaving?
That's right.
Does Esther know?
It wouldn't matter.
It's a fine boy you've got, Craig. Esther's a good woman. They need you. And whether you know it or not, you need them. This isn't Deerfield, Craig, or Salem. This is Boonesboro. In a hard country like this, forgiving comes easier.
They'd never be able to forgive me for all the pain I've caused them.
How can you be sure? Oh, I know it won't be easy, but you've got to try. She's still awake.
Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. From the gooseskin cap on the top of old Dan to the heel of his rawhide shoe, the ripplingest, roaringest, fightingest man the frontier ever knew. Daniel Boone was a man, yes, a big man, and he fought for America to make all Americans free.